Hello, welcome to today's session of using text frames in Scribus. This is actually a part 2 in a series of lectures. Now the first topic we are going to cover is how to convert different shapes into text boxes. In our previous session, we used text boxes and managed to convert these text boxes into different shapes. Now we are going to do the entire thing in the reverse process. We will create a shape in Scribus and then convert it into text box and then import text inside the text box. Let us see how it is done. Let me first start the Scribus, and here the number of pages I am going to choose 3. I am going to give out automatic text frame, where whenever the page is formed, the text frame is also automatically built in. I am going to give out a single column page. I am going to give a OK. Now you see the Scribus layout window. Now I am going to create or insert a shape. So let it be a polygon. Shape, default shape. Let me say I am going to insert this shape here. So this is a shape I am inserting. So this shape is actually a shape in which you can't type anything. You can just edit the shape. If you double click, you won't be able to type anything within this shape. For you to put text inside this shape, you need to create or convert this shape into a text frame. Let us see how it is done. First, we click to select the shape, then go to item and then convert to text frame. Right? Now it has been converted into text frame. Now you can see whatever I type is falling within the text. Whatever I type is falling within the text. Within the shape which we have managed to convert into a text box. So this is how similarly you can create different types of shapes. You can convert these shapes into text box and then you can import text or type text within it, format these texts as per our requirement. Now I will show you another interesting possibility. Here I am going to insert another text frame. Say for example, I am going to put a frame here, then I am going to put a here. Now I am going to increase the size of this A. How? I will go edit text, right click on the text box, click edit text, you see the A. I am going to increase the size of the font. Say let me say I am going to make it into 200 points. Then I am going to center it. Now I will give out OK. So still the size is not big enough. So what I will do is I will show you another way also to increase the size of the font. I will go to properties and then here go to text. Here what you do is you increase the font size. See, here you will get a preview of how your font will look like in this particular shape. So you go to properties, click the text box and then increase the size of the font. Let us see, let us increase this to as big as possible. Our intention is I want to show you how you can type a text within that alphabet. But this will help you to so this is actually the A alphabet we have created inside a text box. So I am going to increase the text box. to edit text, I'll at least pull the text down. Now I select the text or the text box, then I go to item, then I'm going to convert to outlines. So now I have converted the entire thing into outline. Then I will reconvert it into the first thing we have done is we have converted this text box into a outline by selecting this, going to item, then convert to. Since we have already converted into outline, the next thing is you click on the alphabet, go to item, then say convert to. Now text frame. Now we have managed to convert the entire shape of the alphabet into a text frame. Now I am going to type a text. See, since my default text is also black and the background of A is also black, you are not able to see what I have typed. Now we need to change the color of the text letters. So go to colors. Now we are going to change the default color, see what happens. So now you can type within the letter. Need to change the color. Let me see, it has gone back to original. See, whatever I take will change the color. Whatever I type is really filling the alphabet. So this is one way of using a text, converting, enlarging the size of the text, convert the text into a larger size, then convert it into an outline, and then reconvert the outline into a text box, and you can manage to type the entire script within the alphabet. So this is one way of playing around with the text box. So I have shown you how to choose or import or insert a frame or a shape and then convert the shape into a text box and key the text inside it. Then the next thing I have shown you is you can manage to enlarge an alphabet, create it into an outline, then convert it into a text box and type the text within the alphabet. Now I am going to show you another trick wherein we will create a shape and we will make the text go around the shape. For that to happen, you need to first insert a text frame. So what I'll do is I'll keep typing Scribus. I'll keep typing so that I'll copy and paste, save some time. Mouse is becoming sticky. I'm going to copy. I'm just copying. So I'm just doing this repeatedly. Then inside the text box. Now I'm going to insert a shape. Default shape, I want the shape to be oval. So I'll create an oval. Now I'm going to select this, Control Shift, select both. Both of these are selected. Then now you go to item and then attach text to path. See what has happened. Now the entire text I typed into the text box, I managed to cover the circular path. So this is one way where you can make beautiful designs. You can make the text flow into a shape. So these are the various possibilities which are available for you to play around with the text. Let us see what next we have. So we have completed this one. Next we will go to how we are going to resize the text box. So now what we will do is, I will reopen the entire program right now. Then I am going to create a 3-page document. So now I am going to insert 3 text frames. 1, another text frame is I am going to insert here, and the third is to insert a text frame. So what I am going to do is I am going to import text inside all these frames and see how I am going to resize the text box in various ways. Now let me see. I'll just go to sample, click sample text. Sample text fills a window. I'm going to use the same thing, sample text, to this window again. Then I'm going to do the same thing, sample text to the box. So all 3 boxes have been filled up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this box. So just I'm going to drag and resize this box. So what has happened is, by dragging this and resizing, the space, white space increases, and the font size is more or less maintained. So now the next thing I am going to do is I am going to select the box. I am pressing the Alt tab of my keyboard. Now I am resizing. See what happens is, when I press the Alt tab and I resize, you can see the font size also increases as I increase the size of the text box. So this is another way of resizing. One way is you can simply resize the box, the font size will be the same. If you hold the Alt key down and resize it, the fonts increase in size, but there is no proportionality in the font size. It just keeps on increasing by a factor in which you increase the text box size. So now if I press Alt and Control and if I increase the size, see what happens. Now there is some uniformity. See, when I press Alt and Control, the size of the text has undergone a increase in size and the dimensions are actually uniform. So the aspect ratio is what we mean, it is maintained. So here we just held the handle and increased the text box size. What has happened is the text box increased in size. So yeah, what happens is the text box increases and the font is almost the same. Here the text box has increased and the font has also increased in size. Here when I press Alt and Control and increase the size of the text box, the size of the text increases, but the aspect ratio is held exactly the same. So if at all you want to increase the size of the text box and you want to increase the size of the text without changing the aspect ratio, you hold the Alt button and the Control button and you pull the handle to increase the size of the text box. If you simply want to increase the size of the text box without any actual increase in the size of the font, you can just increase the size of the text box. The text will automatically fill the font. Here you see, even though I have increased, the text seems to have filled the box because there are more text here available. So lot of text is available, with the space is not adequate. That is the reason why it is still showing it. Now I will demonstrate the same effect by inserting another text frame. Say I am going to say so I am typing, this is a sample text. So I am copying and pasting. just to fill up the space. So if this is the same, so let me select the box. If you increase the size of this text box, what will happen is the size will so if you increase the size of the text box, the size of the text box will increase, but the font size will be the same. Now I'll do the same thing. I will press the Alt button and increase the size of the text box. See what happens. The size of the text also increases, but what happens to the font? The font takes a very odd shape because the proportion is not maintained. So what we'll do is we'll go back. If you use the Control and Alt, both keys pressed together, and if you manage to increase the size, what happens is the text inside increases in size, but the proportion is maintained. So that is how the size of the text box can be increased along with the size of the text inside. So if you want to increase the size of the text box, along with you want to increase in the size of the font which is held inside the text box, you press Alt and Control together while you pull the handle of the text box. So that is one way to increase the size of the text box and to play around with the size of the font. We have completed this. Now let us go to the next aspect. How are we going to change the color of our text boxes? So I will just go around. I am going to insert a new text frame. So this is a new text frame. Then I am going to the properties. So I want to give a color. So we will give a green, and then here if you are going to type something in this dark colored background, the letter may not be visible. So ideally speaking, you should reduce the opacity to 60%. So it becomes still lighter. Then what you can do is you can use the blend mode if you want. Here you just choose a horizontal gradient. So here you can add one or two of these colors, so that you increase the you can increase the gradient by pulling here. So the color keeps changing. So you do this till you have a pleasing effect. So now let us see what happens to the text we type here. So now I have typed a sample text. What I will do is I will just try to edit the text, make it still bolder. So this is sample text. So I will make it still bigger. Then I will make it Arial bold. And then I will center it, give settings. So now you see the text can be displayed inside a colored text box, and the color of the text box can be manipulated by using the gradients, so that your text will stand out and you won't have any problem in reading the text, and you will also be able to appreciate the background color, enjoy the background color. So let us see how this is going to look in the preview mode. So this is how the entire thing will look when it is printed. So that is exactly what we mean by the preview mode. So we have completed that aspect of changing color of text boxes. Now we have another thing called tracking. So what exactly you mean by tracking? So here we will import some text. I am going to get text. I have created a sample text in a notepad. So I am importing the same text here. Sorry. So here it has, he managed to import it here. You see what has happened, it has imported here. What we will do is we will discard, go back and create a new set of fresh pages, automatic text frames. What I will do is I will get text from the sample text box which I have created already. So now I am having a set of text in the page. Now I will go to edit text. Here what you see is there is something called space between the line and there is something called space between the letters. So here what you can do is, that is actually what you mean by adjusting the space between the text and space between the line is known as tracking. So how are you going to adjust the tracking? So you can always use the story editor to do it. Easiest way is story editor. How will you invoke the story editor? Right click on it and give edit text. So this opens a story editor. So here you select the text for which you want to apply. The kerning is nothing but the space between the two letters, and the another space which we are worried is the space between each lines. So what that is what you call tracking. So tracking is actually indicated by a/v. So you select this and increase the percentage. Let us see what happens. This is a paragraph we are applying the tracking to. So now I am going to confirm the application. See what has happened. The space between each letter has changed and the space between each lines also increased. So your letters, even though I am using the same font, you can see the difference between this paragraph and this paragraph. So you can always apply tracking to ensure that your letters look fairly good. So that is one thing you can always attempt. But mind you, when you want to do this tracking, you ensure that you don't overdo it, because the space between these letters now has increased to such an extent a lorry can pass through these letters. So that is not ideal. So invariably I will like you not to play around with this setting, but there may occur certain occasions where your font may not have this inbuilt auto kerning software. So auto kerning codes embedded inside the font, you may have to do manually. You may have to increase the kerning or decrease the kerning. Kerning is nothing but the distance between letters, and next is the tracking. Tracking is nothing but the space between white space between lines. So this you can manually adjust using the story editor. You can do the same thing by going to the properties also. Properties, go to the text, and then you can go to advanced settings. Here you get the same AV. So what we do is we can select the paragraph. See, I'll select this one and increase the kerning. See what has happened. Here you can see the entire thing changing between your eyes. So you can see the effect. You can see if you go to the properties and do the correction, you will be seeing the entire changes unfold in front of your eyes. So this is what has happened when you apply the tracking to the paragraph or set of lines. And then you can also go ahead, select this and increase the vertical height. See what happens. The height of these letters have increased, and then if you increase this one, the width of the letters increase. Then if you click this one, the height of the letters keeps increasing. See. So this is how you can play around with these settings to get the optimal effect as far as these fonts are concerned. Now next is what we want to do is text flow across shapes. So what exactly you mean by text flow across shapes. For example, you have created a paragraph here. So what I am going to do is I am going to insert a image frame here, and then I am going to add a picture inside that frame. For example, let me see what I will do. Insert this picture. What I will do is I will adjust the image to the frame. So now you will be able to see the frame better. So now I kept a image frame within the paragraph. Now I want the text to flow around this image. So how am I going to do it? So just I will go again to the properties, then go to the shape, and then use frame shape. Let us see what happens. In contour line, let us see. This is not getting executed. Let me try once again. See, the problem was I did not select the image. What I should do was, you should select this image. My mouse is playing truant. Maybe my mouse pad is needs to be changed. Now I have selected the image. Then I am going to properties. Then I just want to allow the text to flow around the image. So you choose frame. You can use the bounding box, then you can use the contour line, whichever you like. If you use the contour line, the text will flow along the contour. If you use a bounding box, the text will flow along the box. Then if you use a frame shape, the text will flow around the shape of the text box. So now if I am going to change the text box, move the text box around. Let me see. So your entire word has gone around, has moved around this image, giving it the space. If you want to undo, just undo text flow around the frame, it will go. My mouse is playing the villain here, sorry. We will do the same thing here. Append text. Okay. So I am going to insert a image frame here. Let me do it here. I am going to take an image here. I am going to say do this. Then I want the text to flow around this image. I am going to right click it and then go to properties. Then I am going to image. I'm sorry. I'm going to shape. Then allow the text to flow around the shape. Now you see the text has managed to flow around the shape. Now if I pull this image, see what happens. The text is again flowing around the image. See? So text is beautifully flowing around the image. So I am using the frame. Then I will use the bounding box setting. Let us see what happens. Again, the box is selected and the text flows around the box. So for example, here I move this text here. Again, beautifully the text flows around it. See, here I move, the text flows around it. I move here, still the text flows around it. Here you keep it here, the text flows around it. So here, by using this feature of enabling the text flowing around an object, you can create beautiful looking page layout. So here you see the image, you can see the classic example of text flowing around the image. So thank you very much for your patient listening.